The law was clear. A woman of the stage could never marry into the ruling class of Rome. She had danced for coins in the dust of the Hippodrome. He was the heir to an empire that stretched from Italy to the edge of Asia. Between them stood centuries of written law, and it would take an emperor to break it. This is not a legend. Her face still looks out from a wall of gold in Ravenna, and every word of it is true. She was born around the year 500, into the loudest, lowest corner of Constantinople. Her father kept the bears for one of the great racing factions at the Hippodrome. When he died, 3 small girls were left with nothing. Their mother dressed them in garlands and pushed them into the arena to beg, in front of a roaring crowd. Theodora became a performer, and in that world, an actress was barely separated from a prostitute in the eyes of the law. She was clever and quick and famous for her wit. But fame on that stage carried a permanent stain. To respectable Rome, she was untouchable, a body to be watched, never a woman to be wed. And the law was not vague about it. For generations, Roman statute had barred women of the stage from marrying into the senatorial class. A man of rank who wanted such a woman could keep her. He could not marry her. The higher he climbed, the more impossible she became. This was the divide, written down and enforced. Then she vanished from the city. She followed a man to North Africa and was abandoned there, far from home, with nothing. The long journey back changed her. In Alexandria she found religion and a fierce new faith. The woman who returned to Constantinople was not a dancer anymore. She spun wool for a living, quiet, watching. Now the other world. Justinian was not born to the purple either. His uncle Justin had walked the capital as a peasant boy with bread in a sack and risen through the army to seize the throne itself. Justin had no children, so he adopted his sharp, tireless nephew and groomed him to inherit an empire. Justinian was now the most eligible man alive. Picture the gap between them. On one side, the heir to the Roman world, draped in silk, deciding the fate of provinces. On the other, a former actress spinning wool in a small house near the palace. By law, by blood, by every custom of the age, these 2 lives were never meant to touch. Justinian was a strange kind of prince. He slept little, read law deep into the night, and dreamed of remaking the empire whole. He did not care much for the old bloodlines. He cared for loyalty and for brilliance. It was a mind, not a pedigree, that could catch his eye. Remember that. 2 worlds. One ruled by law and gold, one ruled by survival. And nothing in the written order of Rome was ever meant to let them meet. But the city was small at the top, and Theodora was not easily overlooked. Sometime in the early 1520s, she and Justinian met. The record does not give us the room, or the words, or the hour. What it gives us is the result. The most powerful bachelor in the empire fell completely and lastingly in love. It was not a passing fancy. Everything we know of Justinian says he was drawn to her mind as much as anything else. She was witty and shrewd and unafraid to argue. She had seen the world from its gutter and understood people in a way no sheltered noblewoman could. He did not want to hide her away. He wanted her beside him. So he began to lift her. He had her raised to the rank of patrician, an extraordinary honor for a woman of her past. He gave her wealth, and a household, and standing. He was building her a new life, piece by piece, in full view of a court that watched and whispered and did not approve. He had made his choice. Now he wanted the one thing the empire had never given a woman like her name beside his, in marriage. And she was no passive prize. Theodora held opinions on faith, on politics, on power. She belonged to a branch of Christianity the court considered heresy, and she would defend it for the rest of her life. Justinian did not silence her for it. He listened. In her, he had found not a decoration, but a partner. And she did not merely receive his devotion. Theodora chose him too. She, who had every reason to distrust powerful men, tied her whole future to this one. Together they imagined a different kind of rule, where a bear-keeper's daughter and a peasant's nephew would sit as equals. It was audacious. It was, by every rule of the age, impossible. Justinian went to his uncle and asked for the one thing gold could not buy: permission to marry her. And with that request, a private love became a public scandal. The court had tolerated a mistress. A wife from the stage, a future empress from the gutter, was another matter entirely. The first wall was a woman. The Empress Euphemia had herself been born a slave, bought and freed before she ever wore a crown. She knew what it was to rise, and still she said no. She loved her nephew, but she could not bear the thought of a former actress seated on the throne beside him. Her refusal was absolute. And Euphemia had the law on her side. The ancient statute still stood, cold and specific. A man of senatorial rank could not marry a woman who had performed on the stage. It did not matter how far Theodora had risen, or how sincerely she had changed. On parchment, she was still forbidden. So they waited. For years, Justinian could give Theodora everything but the one title he wanted for her. They could not marry while Euphemia lived and the law held. It must have been a strange kind of torment, to hold nearly all the power in the world and still be told no, by his own family, by his own state. And the court did not let her forget. To the old aristocracy, Theodora would always be the girl from the arena. They smiled at her rank and sharpened their contempt behind it. Every honor Justinian gave her was another insult to the bloodlines who believed the throne belonged to them, and never to someone like her. And the danger was not only to her pride. Powerful men at court used the affair against Justinian, muttering that an heir who would drag an actress toward the throne was unfit to hold it himself. His enemies had been handed a weapon. To keep loving her was to risk the very crown he was born to inherit. A weaker man might have let her go. A more conventional heir would have taken a suitable bride of good family and kept Theodora quietly to the side. Justinian did neither. He simply refused to marry anyone else at all. If he could not have her as his empress, it seemed, he would wait until the world itself changed. And Theodora waited with a purpose of her own. She used these years to build ties among the persecuted, the Christians, the court branded as heretics. She was gathering something the aristocrats underestimated, not merely a claim to a crown, a base of loyalty that would one day help hold the whole empire together. This was the darkest stretch, a love fully formed, fully returned, and completely forbidden, blocked by an empress, sealed by a law, with no way through. Then the war came down. Around the year 523, the Empress Euphemia died. The single most determined opponent of the marriage was gone, and with her passing, the last purely personal barrier between them fell away. Only the law itself remained, a law written by men, and laws can be rewritten. Now the aging Emperor Justin acted for his nephew. He did what no infatuated prince could do alone. He changed the law. Justin issued a new statute that allowed a woman who had left the stage to marry into the highest ranks of the empire. A repentant actress, the law now said, could rise, even to a throne. Read what that meant. An emperor of Rome had reached into the legal code that defined class itself and rewritten it, not for policy, not for war, for love. The very barrier that had made Theodora untouchable was struck from the books, so that one woman of the stage could become a wife. Think of it, centuries of law, undone with a stroke of the imperial pen, so that a bear-keeper's daughter could marry the heir of Rome. And so, around the year 525, they married. In the great church of Constantinople, the former actress became the lawful wife of the man who would rule the Roman world. The crowd that had once watched her beg in the arena now watched her wed its future emperor. The divide had been crossed, in law and in the sight of God. 2 years later, in 527, old Justin died. Justinian became sole emperor of the Romans, and Theodora, the girl from the Hippodrome, was crowned Augusta beside him. She did not sit in his shadow. From the very first day, he named her his partner in power, and he meant it. This was the astonishing part. Justinian did not hide where she came from. In his own laws, he called her his most pious consort, given to him by God. He consulted her on everything, on appointments, on policy, on faith. Foreign envoys soon learned that to move the emperor, it was wise to first win the empress. But crowns are not safe things. In 532, Constantinople exploded. Two rival factions, long at each other's throats, united in fury against Justinian's taxes and his officials. For days the city burned. Mobs roamed the streets. They proclaimed a new emperor of their own. And then they came for the palace. Inside, the emperor's council collapsed into panic. A ship waited in the harbor, heavy with imperial gold. Justinian's own advisors urged him to run, to save his life and abandon the city. The man who had rewritten the law for love now sat cornered, ready to flee. And then his wife rose to speak. She would not run. In the words the record preserved, one who has worn the crown should never outlive its loss. The royal purple, she said, is the noblest shroud. It was the turning point of the whole reign. Shamed by a former actress who would not flee, Justinian stayed. His generals rallied, sealed the rioters inside the Hippodrome, and crushed the revolt. The throne was saved, and every soul in that room knew who had saved it. Not the emperor, his empress. The victory was brutal. Tens of thousands are said to have died in the Hippodrome that day, cut down where they had gathered. It was not a clean triumph. It was survival, bought in blood. But the throne Theodora refused to abandon would now stand for another 30 years and reshape the world. From that saved throne they built. Justinian's armies won back lost provinces. His scholars gathered 1,000 years of Roman law into a single code that still underlies Western law today. And rising from the ashes of the riot came the great church of Hagia Sophia, a dome the ancient world had never dared. And Theodora's hand was in all of it. She received ambassadors. She defended her persecuted faithful, sheltering the bishops the empire hunted. She and Justinian did not always agree on religion. Yet even in disagreement, they governed as two halves of one crown, a partnership the old aristocrats had sworn could never exist. Whatever the court had predicted, this marriage did not crack. For more than 20 years they ruled side by side. He trusted her judgment above his ministers. She guarded his throne as if it were her own life. The girl the arena had thrown away had become the one person the master of the Roman world could not do without. The gutter to the purple, the stage to the throne, and a marriage that governed an empire. All of it real. But Theodora's deepest mark was quieter than any war. She never forgot the arena, or the girls sold into it. Using her power, she pushed through laws no Roman empress had dared before. She had brothels closed and their keepers driven from the city. She made the trafficking of young girls a crime. She built a convent across the water called Repentance, where women escaping prostitution could live in safety. She widened the rights of women in divorce. She protected a widow's dowry and a mother's claim to her own children. She had once been a woman the law discarded. Now she wrote the law to lift them. One of her reforms still feels startling. A bride, the new law said, must give her consent to marry not once but twice, so that a woman had the right to change her mind. From someone the state had once treated as property, it was a quiet revolution written in ink. Theodora did not grow old. Around the year 548, still in her 40s, she died, most likely of cancer. Justinian, who had moved heaven and law to marry her, was shattered. He would reign for 17 more years. He never took another wife. He honored her the way an emperor could. He kept faith with the causes she had championed, and protected the religious community she had sheltered. 17 years he ruled without her and never remarried. The most powerful man in the world had been made and steadied by a woman the law had once forbidden him to wed. And if you doubt any of it, the proof still waits in Italy. In the church of San Vitale in Ravenna, a mosaic set around the year 547 still glows. Theodora stands crowned in imperial purple, jewels at her brow, an empress in gold that has not faded in 15 centuries. A bear-keeper's daughter, once forbidden by law to marry, now staring down the centuries from a wall of gold, wearing a crown. We remember the emperors for their wars and their codes, but the truest measure of Justinian may be the law he unwrote. He was handed every reason to marry well and forget her. Instead, he changed the rules of his world, so the woman he loved could stand as his equal. You cannot fake a mosaic that has waited 1500 years. History is full of loves that were never supposed to happen, and every one of them left a mark you can still go and find. If this one moved you, stay with us. There are more true, impossible loves still waiting to be told.